Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome back for part 2 of chapter 12. I hope you've had a wonderful Friday so far. Yesterday, part 1 of chapter 12, Malcom ran into Oscar the fish, and Oscar told Malcom that they don't think he's a rat. And then we ended with Oscar telling Malcom about locker 2135 up. So I hope we figure out what he means by that in the rest of this chapter today. Enjoy!
Huh? But there was no time to ask or even get to the door. Instead, Malcom leaped up a bookcase and then over to the long row of fluorescent lights that hung across the ceiling of the library. He carefully stepped across a stranded paper airplane. Far below him, the academy gathered on the library computer. Guess they were meeting after all. Malcom watched as Octavius flipped on the computer. Then the phone rang. Honey Bunny knocked off its cradle. Pete banged his pincher on the bottom of the keypad, and Tank the Turtle's voice filled the room. Hello? It works! The cell phone works! Jesse did a flip with glee. I told you! Welcome to the 21st century! He high-pawed Billy. Harriet sniffed. Honey Bunny asked, Polly, are you there? A high-pitched, airy voice chirped. I'm here, flying right above Tank. The phone rubber banded to Tank's back works brilliantly. Jesse, you're a genius. What do you see? Pete asked in his accented voice. Well, we made it up to the fourth. We're heading into the old science lab room. A pause. Malcom supposed there might be a few long waits if they were going at Tank's speed. After a moment, Polly whistled. Phew, what a mess. Someone's been busy up here. Remember when the Lankeys did that asbestos removal on the 3rd floor 2 years ago? Does it look like that? Harriet asked. Another pause and some static. I don't know, maybe. Any signs of Aggie? The Midnight Academy members leaned closer to the phone speaker. Tank spoke. No, there was a scent on the stairs, but nothing since then. But there's junk dribbled all over here. Let's see if I can sniff it out. Another pause. Strange. It's paste. And the grumble of the Brumble's lemon cleanser. Look, Polly cried. The second grader's missing hand sanitizer. And louder, watch out, Tank! Don't step in that! There was a bump and a rattle, like Tank had banged against something. Then Polly came back on. The chemicals from the storage cabinet have spilled, too. Tank, let's get out of here. The fumes are making me all confuddled. Okay, hang on. There was a long pause. Were Tank and Polly going to go all around the 4th floor? At this rate, the conference call would take all night. Then a squawk from the phone. Hey, what's this? The Midnight Academy all leaned in. So did Malcom. The row of lights tilted just a little, but it was enough. Next to him, the paper airplane slid toward the edge. Gristle! Malcom dove for it, but the plane dropped off the edge of the light, out of reach. And now it was Malcom who was falling. He was twisted and caught himself just in time. His sweaty front paws made tiny squeaky noises as he slowed himself on the curved surface of the light. His back end pedaled furiously in thin air. Uh-oh, I bet you had that picture in your mind. Meanwhile, Polly's voice floated up. We've got critter tracks! Malcom watched helplessly while the airplane glided through the air and zoomed toward the library counter as the academy asked, Aggies? Malcom held his breath. No, they look like... There was a small splash from the aquarium. The plane landed safely in the shadows behind the academy. Malcom let out his breath. They're rat prints, aren't they? Honey Bunny interrupted. He sounded tired. Maybe, Tank said. It's hard to tell. Polly's going ahead, scouting it out. He lured her up here, Honey Bunny started pacing. But why? And where did the rat take her? Malcom cringed as he reached with a rear paw to get back onto the light. Honey Bunny was talking about him. Billy spoke up. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was steady. What if we're wrong, HB? What if Malcom didn't have anything to do with this? Those tracks could have been from the other night when he went up the elevator. Jesse nodded. He seems like a good critter. Malcom felt a pang of friendship for the hamsters. Are you crazy? Honey Bunny bellowed so loudly that Malcom jumped, and it was that little movement that did it. What weak grip Malcom had on this light suddenly was gone. Squeak! He slid down the side of the light, then he cartwheeled through the air. As he did, he heard Honey Bunny saying, "He's a rat! Snip has found her rat fink this time." Then he landed. It didn't hurt. It was a soft landing. That's about the only good thing you could say about it. Otherwise, it was absolutely the worst place a rat could land. Malcolm had fallen squarely on the fluffy, banana chip-scented head of Honey Bunny. Oof! "Lankies!" Harriet the Hedgehog shrilled and wheezed. "Sour grapes! Sour grapes! This is not a drill!" The critters scattered, hopping, scooting, jumping in every direction. Honey Bunny bucked Malcolm off. His eyes widened at the sight of him. "You!" he growled. Then he roared. "Freeze!" The other animals stopped in mid-bound. "It's not sour grapes," Honey Bunny pointed with his paw. "It's Scuzzy Rat." Malcolm huddled on the counter, his tail wrapped tightly around his body, his short whiskers drooping. He opened his mouth to say something, anything, but absolutely nothing came out. Pete scuttled back to the counter. He reached out his pincers, and pain zinged through Malcolm's tail. "I'll take care of this," said the hermit crab. And so it was, for the second time that week, that Malcolm was escorted back to his cage via hermit crab. And as Malcolm nursed his tail, he knew that all he had done was convince the Academy that he was, indeed, a rat fink. A rat fink who had no merit whatsoever when it came down to sneaking and spying. A rat fink with a very tender tail.
Uh-oh. Malcolm is not making himself look very good right now, is he? And we didn't learn anything about the locker. Lucky for you, though, Chapter 13 is called Locker 2135 Up. So tune in next week, Tuesday, to find out more about the locker. I hope you get a chance to go outside and play sometime this weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. I cannot wait to hear all about it on Tuesday. I miss you very much.